Hi, I am Father Alex and I'm the Vicar of St Matthew's, Burnley, and I'm also the host of the Godcast podcast. This interview is with Kevin Kennedy, well known for his role as Curly Watts in Coronation Street, but also star of the West End and musical theatre. And in this interview, join us as we take a trip down memory lane with Kevin Kennedy. Hope you enjoy the interview and thanks for watching. Well, I'm delighted to say that joining me on the Godcast today, who is Kevin Kennedy, and a very familiar face indeed. Many of you will, of course, remember Kevin for his role as Curly Watts in Coronation Street. But more recently, Kevin has started his Kennedy Street Foundation charity, which we'll be talking about in a few moments. So, Kevin, really great to welcome you to the Godcast. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Whereabouts do we find you, Kevin? Whereabouts in the world?
I am actually in Brighton at the moment. We've just moved house. As you can see, I'm in the bedroom because this is probably the only half together room in the whole place.
So have you moved? What have you moved from up north down there, or?
No. We've lived down here for about 8 or 9 years, and we just moved up the road a bit from where we used to live.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. I was talking to Sean Wilson, who I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
He's also down south. I think he's in. I can't remember where he is. I think he's in Essex, something.
Yeah.
And he just
he did tell me. I've forgotten.
He said he just felt the need to get out of Manchester. Was that a desire for you at some point then?
No. I mean, I love Manchester. Manchester is, he's always been home. It's just that all my work was down this end of the country. And I was in the West End and I was doing 8 shows a week, Monday to Saturday. And then either driving home Saturday night after 2 shows and then driving back again on the Monday, or getting the train home on the Sunday and then getting the train back on the Monday. And it all became a bit hectic. So the thing is, I was with Claire here in Brighton in about 2004. I was doing panto down here, and I said, this is a really cool place. If we ever get the opportunity, if we have to leave Manchester, we'll come here. So be careful what you wish for. So, but having said that, it's a lovely place, and our children have been brought up here, and it's lovely because we've got the big. It's very cosmopolitan, very bohemian in Brighton. It's like Manchester used to be to a certain extent.
Right.
It's very lively. It's full of actors and poets and sculptors and writers. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I used to holiday there as a kid, and my dad went there religiously. No pun intended.
Yeah.
On an annual basis. So let's just have a quick trip down memory lane, Kevin. So as we just said, you're a Manchester guy.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Wythenshawe, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, Wythenshawe.
We just lost a bit of signal there, Kevin. We were saying about Wythenshawe. So what was that like for you growing up in Wythenshawe?
Wythenshawe. It was. People say Wythenshawe's really rough, but I've always thought it was quite a cool place. A lot of good bands come from there, good people live in Wythenshawe. Having said that, though, I've not lived there for quite a while, but I've still got a lot of mates who live up there, and mum and dad live down that end. I had a very happy childhood growing up there. Then we moved over to Shady Lane, which was over by Timperley, which was quite cool. And so I had a very happy time.
So what kind of student were you? Were you a guy who was academic, or did you prefer the creative stuff as a young guy?
I was very much creative. I think drama and English were my favorites. I mean, I did all the sports. I played for my team in various, played for my school, in various sports. But I was always more on the creative side. And plus, growing up in Manchester in 1976 was the punk revolution, really, which was a true revolution, I think, because people started getting up and doing things that people normally weren't supposed to do. You know, you'd turn on Granada Reports and you'd see your peers doing either rock and roll or sculpting or poetry or music or acting, and it was great because it meant everyone could get up and have a go. And that was very formative for me, because suddenly everyone was doing stuff, you know, and I was lucky enough to grow up with some very productive people. Me and Johnny Marr were in the same church playing folk masses, which obviously led on for him going into the Smiths, and I played with them for a little while. So it was all that mishmash of creativity around punk, around Manchester, which has always been a creative hub anyway. I've always thought was brilliant for me at the age of, between the ages of 14 and 20. You know, it was all happening.
Yeah, I've got me Johnny Marr book just there.
Yeah,
I've got him next to my Morrissey autobiography in the hope that one day they might get back together. But I'm not holding my breath. What?
No, I wouldn't.
What music were you influenced by then? I know that you said about the punk revolution. Did you buy fully into that then? Were you into the Pistols?
No, it wasn't the idea of the music. It was the idea, I think, of the punk thing, was that you could just get up and do it. I think that was the interesting aspect of punk. It wasn't so much, I don't think, a music revolution. It was a cultural revolution. It was throwing out the rules, whereas people said, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that because you are from Wythenshawe or you are from Manchester. I think that changed the rules, and I think that changed everything for a lot of young people, especially for myself. And although Johnny and I started playing, we weren't playing punk stuff, but it certainly gave us the initiative and the drive to play the stuff we wanted to play. And so we were very much into Thin Lizzy, which were for us, two Irish descent, good Catholic boys, was you know, that was acceptable. And a lot of and things like that, and early kind of New York rock and roll. And so we started playing that, and that's what I really liked. Not so much the music, or it was the freedom to up and do it.
Yeah, you know, Jesus, your faith sustaining you, and in your darker times. Was that the case?
Yeah, very much so. I think when I was in rehab, spot, you know, is, but yeah, when I was in rehab, it was quite a dark spot. You know, there wasn't, I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, really. Right at the beginning, things were pretty grim. But because I'd had a good grounding in faith and believing in something bigger than yourself, you know, that was a very good thing to turn to. And it wasn't particularly Roman Catholicism that I turned to. It was just the idea that there was someone up there that could help me, you know, and because the 12-step program of which I embarked upon has a good grounding in, and it helps if you have a grounding in some kind of religious belief. And so I leaned on that, and things changed from then on, you know. And I mean, there's a great saying that organized religion and churches are for people who don't want to go to hell. Spiritualism is a place for people that have been there. and I think that's probably a very good analogy.
Indeed. And if we just kind of progress from college and music, were you thinking about becoming an actor? How did that kind of start for you? You know, what was your process with that?
Well, I never really knew what I wanted to do. I still don't half the time. I just knew that it had to be in the entertainment industry for some point, but I didn't know what to do. I mean, as I say, I was privileged to sit in a bedroom with Johnny Marr and watch him play a guitar before anyone else did. And it was one of those feelings which I've had since, where I think I'm witnessing here something very special. This is something, you just get that tingly feeling at the back of your neck that you shouldn't really be listening to this, because this is going to be huge. And I thought, well, if you have to be that good, maybe I should presume something else. So I decided that well, I'll become an actor instead.
And so what happened?
So that's what I became.
So
Yeah, well, I was at the age of 18, and I decided to go and apply for drama schools, and I did the usual. Sorry, I've lost your screen, but can you still hear me? Is that all that matters?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I decided, well, I'll go and be an actor then, because I'm not as good as Johnny. So that's what I'll do. So I went to audition for various drama schools, and all the RADAs and the Lambdas and the rest of it. But the up and coming school at the time was Manchester Polytechnic School of Theatre, because, excuse me, it was regarded as one of the best, and it was very much a vocational course. You were expected to go into that college and then come out and become an actor. And they were very much television orientated as well. They were the first drama school in the country to have a TV studio, a working TV studio, and taught you those skills. So their idea was to teach you as many skills as possible, so you could work, and that became very important to me. So I went there, and it was very difficult to get in because it was such a good school, and they have something like 20 places maybe 20 to 30 places every intake, and they have thousands of people auditioning. And I was 18, I auditioned, and I got in. I was very young, so that sort of put me on the road, really. Before that, I'd been involved in the Manchester Youth Theatre, which probably was one of the best things I'd ever done as a kid. Again, all through the punk era, because everyone was getting out and doing things, and I found it very interesting to be involved in that theatre, and it gave me a real taste of what was to come. And interestingly enough, I think the difference being back then in good old 1979 was I wasn't bothered. I didn't want to become famous. I didn't want to become a celebrity or whatever. I just wanted to be an actor. I wanted to do the job that I love doing. I think it's very different nowadays. I think people just want to be famous, and they don't really care what for. So yeah, so that's where it started, really. I went from youth theatre into drama school, and then from drama school, after 3 years, I went into the industry. And I've been very lucky. I've pretty much worked for the last 45 years, apart from this year.
Yeah.
Where this is the longest I've ever been home.
Is that frustrating for you?
Yes, yes, but I've done lots of other things. I've been doing a lot of stuff, helping Claire with the charity. I've picked up the guitar again and done an awful lot of playing on that, and using the facilities that have been available to us, like Wi-Fi, and enrolled on a Texas blues course and learned lots more about playing, and certainly about recording, and got into GarageBand and started recording some stuff, and I get lost in music, which is the idea. I think if you're in a pandemic and you've got nothing better to do, working out drum patterns and playing blues licks, and why doesn't that fit there, and why can't I do this, and I've been doing that for hours, and of course helping Claire with the charity, which is probably the more spiritually profitable part of it.
It's one of my regrets not playing an instrument. My dad was a pianist, and I used to watch him get lost in the music. I just quickly on Johnny Marr, Kev.
Yeah.
You go on to be a fan of the Smiths. Did you love all this stuff?
Well, funnily enough, about after that incident in Johnny's bedroom when I saw him play, about 4 years later, I was doing Hamlet at Sheffield Crucible. I was in there playing the Gravedigger, and across the road at one of the Sheffield University halls was the Smiths were playing, and they were at their height. So I went across to see Johnny, and we just looked at each other and started laughing, you know, because he was doing what he obviously loved, and I was across the road doing the Bard. So yeah, I became quite a fan. I'm still friends with Johnny. I still see him at the matches because we have a beloved relationship with Manchester City, which is always a great leveler. No matter who you are, what you do, or where you are in the world, football always is a great leveler. So yeah, I follow his career with interest.
Yeah, and Coronation Street, Kev, you were in it for a long time, and when I was talking to John Wilson, you know, he sees it as a real fond memory. Is it always, you know, it's been a long time since you've been out of the soul. Do you see it with huge affection, or has it been a thorn in the side in any way?
No, I grew up. I spent 20 years there, not just with the cast, but the crew and the directors and the people behind the scenes in the offices and the various producers. I mean, I must have witnessed what, 6 or 7 different producers and executive producers. It was a great learning curve. That's where I trained, really. Certainly in the aspects of acting for TV. Recently, I was lucky enough to be cast in a movie, and I went over to Romania just before Christmas to do this movie, and it was the kind of first solid piece of camera work that I'd done for quite a long time. And luckily, the foundation that I got at Coronation Street held me in good stead. You know, in fact, it helped me a great deal because Coronation Street is produced at great speed, but with great precision and excellence. So when you come across a movie which is done quite slowly, very slowly compared to any soaps, you know, it was relatively easy for me because I'd had that grounding at the sharp end of the stick, so to speak. And if you can do it on a soap, I think you can do it anywhere.
Yeah. What was life like for you, Kev, living during that period when, you know, I think probably Coronation Street. I'm not a watcher of it anymore, but I used to be an avid watcher of Coronation Street and loved every episode and probably every character, and soon realised that the characters were adored. So you know, what was it like living in that bubble for such a long period of time, growing out, people knowing, you know?
Well, it was what you made it, really. I mean, I enjoyed all the fame stuff part of it. I really sort of threw myself into that. I quite enjoyed it, the fact that you could, you know, people knew who you were. And I was very young, don't forget. I was only 23, 24. So I quite have enjoyed all that kind of side of it, getting into restaurants and getting the best tables and stuff like that. It was later on I really became to appreciate the fact that all those people enjoyed what you did, rather than getting the best tables. I enjoyed the fact that we were around Manchester, so I could basically stay in my home city and enjoy the benefits of that, like going to the football and going to concerts and things like that. I wasn't a great fan of going to nightclubs and stuff like that because I didn't like the music. I stopped listening to music when Stock Aitken and Walkman came in. I just thought, where's the guitar band's gone? So rather than go to Stringfellows or whatever the nightclub was around, I'd go around hunting for live music, which eventually led me to joining an Irish show band called The Borderline, because I just couldn't, if I couldn't listen to music, I wanted to play it. So I became the kind of anonymous bass player in this dance band, which really was good for 2 reasons. One, it gave me something to do, and it kept me out of the public eye in nightclubs and stuff like that. And when things were pretty hairy with as regards the press chasing you all over the place, the press weren't likely to come down to the Ardree on a Saturday night. I think they'd be too scared. It was a proper place. It was a honky tonk, and great fun. Or St. Catherine's on a Tuesday night. I don't think they bother with that. But if you're in Stringfellows in the centre of London, then they're more likely to come and hunt you down. So that is what I did. That's how I survived it. And the other reason was it kept me sane. It just every sort of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the van would turn up outside my house, and I'd just get in, and I'd go off and become the bass player. And it was never advertised. The borderline with Curly Watts from Coronation Street. It was just sort of a big Mancunian secret, really, and it was very cool. And it taught me how to play live, and it taught me how to work an audience, because we didn't play 245s. We played for 2-3 hours at a time every night, and different dances like the foxtrot and the waltzes and the quick steps, and it was just brilliant.
Excellent. And just on those, you had some great chemistry. Some guys at Corrie, like Bill Tarmy and Liz Dawn, and Sarah Lancashire. And Jean, you can tell I'm a fan of Jean Alexander, and they were unique times, Kev, weren't they? It was a special combination of great acting and great scripts and a great show.
Yeah, I think that particular time that I joined was really at its peak as regards the writing. I mean, I'm still a fan, and I still think the writing is the best around. As I say, because they do it so quickly. But at that particular time, they had so many seasoned actors who had come through either the variety side of things or the nightclub singer side of things, and that is a tough thing to do. And the benefits of that, especially with the variety people, is they knew how to play comedy, and they knew how to structure what they were doing. So they knew how to feed lines, and they knew which were the comedy lines. The likes of Bill Tarmy and Liz Dawn, who I adored, they were very humble. They didn't realize just how brilliant they were. And I found that a very humbling experience, because I was, a fully trained actor, blah, blah, blah. And they threw the real book out the window. And made it work for them, and it was brilliant to watch. The rest of, like Bill Waddington, who played Percy Sugden, and Jill Summers. These people had been around for a long, long time and played all the variety stages, and they knew the business inside out, and they knew comedy inside out, and they knew drama inside out. So whatever was thrown at them, they could just turn their hand to it. I think, particularly these days, I think the people that are in it, apart from the elder members of the cast, have not had that grounding. They haven't got the variety people in it anymore. And I'm not saying that's not a criticism. That's just the way it is, because there's not many of those variety people around anymore. And I think we were very lucky as a nation to be able to enjoy these people showing off their craft on a regular basis on the television.
Yeah. It's great just listening to you talk about those days, and when you leave Corrie, your career's been really kind of diverse, isn't it? I was looking at some of the theatre productions you've done, and you said earlier you have been a busy guy. You've done some We Will Rock You, which I imagine was just, if you love your music, that must have been a blast.
Yeah, well, I've been very lucky. When I left Coronation Street, I didn't really know what to do with myself. I just, about a year before I left, I'd gone back into some music, and I'd signed for Simon Cowell. Sorry, and before he was like God, and I was signed to Arista, and I had a single out called Bulldog Nation, which didn't do brilliantly well, but I was quite happy that it was guitar music, and there was a lot of people out there who secretly liked it because it was a lot of guitar stuff in there, and from that I got signed to Warner Brothers, and I had an album out called Present Kennedy, which went gold in New Zealand, and from that came a tour of America where I ended up playing in Memphis and Nashville, and I played the Riverfest down in Little Rock with the likes of Steve Earle and Willie Nelson and people like that, and that was something else. I mean, I was still in Corrie at the time when all that was happening, and it got quite ridiculous. I remember we filmed a Roundheads and Cavaliers episode of Coronation Street where we all dressed up as Roundheads and Cavaliers in Wythenshawe Park, and we finished filming on the Friday, and I was on a plane to Atlanta Friday night, and I was playing in Morgan Freeman's Blues Club in Mississippi, a place called Ground Zero, on the Saturday night. Which was basically just an amazing hall, which was just full of graffiti, and a bar, and at the other end was a stage with a really good sound system. Right on the Mississippi, you opened up the stage door, and there was the Mississippi. It was Clarksville, which was also historically famous for the battle of for the Civil War battles. And then I went up to, as I say, Little Rock, which again, if you're a history buff, that was where the first little black girl went to school, to a white school in the 60s. And that was a fascinating place to walk around. So all this was happening at the end of Coronation Street, and then Coronation Street came to an end, and I realized there was not enough money in being a country star to keep life and soul together. So I went into the musicals. So I did Rocky Horror, then I did Chicago in the West End, then I did I can't remember, We Will Rock You. I did another farce called Ducking Out, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, all kinds of different stuff, and that kind of sent me all over the world, really. So yeah, it has been a busy 14, 15, 16 years.
Kevin, did you enjoy that shift from playing different characters to one character? You know, what was the difference?
Yeah, I enjoyed it because it was a different skill. With Coronation Street and playing a long time character, you've got to find different aspects of that character for quite a long time, and there's no end to it. Whereas within a structured play, a structured musical, you do have a map. This starts here and ends here. But with a soap opera character, it only starts. You don't know when it's going to end, and especially for Curly, it's still going. You still don't know where he is or whether he might return with a tale of where he's been. So that thing's still going on in the background, which I always find quite interesting.
Yeah, the phone might ring one day and say, we want to bring you back. Is that something you'd be up for?
Yeah, well, because I'm an actor and I'm a storyteller, and whether it be through music, or whether it be television or theatre, and I think to retell the story to an audience of where that character's been for 14 or whatever, it's 16 years now, I think would be quite an interesting thing to do. And if people were interested in that story, then it would be obviously worth doing.
Yeah. Kevin, it's I'm not revealing anything to the world when we say you had a few demons and you had your issues with the booze. Yeah. Was that did that come around through kind of social engagement, or was it a place of solitude that you turned to the booze?
No, I think people have come up with all kinds of reasons for me, but my reason is because I liked it. That's the truth of it. It's because I enjoyed it. I could go deep into some psychology and going, I mean, I had a great childhood. I didn't have any things that were in the cupboard, so to speak. I just really enjoyed it. I think that would have happened to me whatever job I'd done. The fact that I was in Coronation Street and the fact I was well paid only hastened the process. But I truly believe it would have happened to me, whatever. It was more interesting afterwards that I sort of found a bit more of a peaceful and spiritual existence. I think you can't go through something like that and come out and not come out the other end with an idea of how big, how very small you are, and how very big the world is, and and I do have a very a good relationship with God, with God as you see him, or as however you see him. With my particular God, I have a great relationship with him. And I think that's important. And having a relationship not just with God but with anyone is something you have to work at. And as far as I'm concerned, because a higher power that was with me during the darkest times, that has to be repaid. So I'm very mindful, and I'm very aware of a higher power, of a spiritual power, whether you want to call it God or whatever. For me, it's God, and always has been, and I think always will be. And I think it was always there, and it was always underlying. But it took something like my descent into madness, really, into insanity, and to find a way out of that. And doing the charity. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a big music fan. My rock and roll hero is Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode, who
Right.
huge demons and went to the very edge. I was wondering what your epiphany moment was in kind of this saying this cannot carry on. For him, it was like I think it was his son saying, "I just don't want you to die, Dad," and he found him in a pool of his own vomit. What was your epiphany moment?
I think it was right at the end of it all when I just thought, well, it was I just thought, or the thought was put there for me that I can't carry on like this. You know, I don't want to die. Whereas before, that was a viable proposition. You know, people said to you, carry on drinking or you carry on drugging, you're going to die. At one point, I was thinking, well, maybe I could get 2-3 years out of this. And that's insanity. And so when I realized that I didn't want to die and I did want to live, that was the point. I think the Damascus, the road to Damascus point, if you will. I thought, well, no, I've got, it's a surrender, really. I've got to give in. And it was hard because I loved it, you know, and it was very much a grieving period that I went through afterwards, as much as you know, getting rid of the shakes and the physical aspects of it, that the mental aspects of it. I was grieving for a long time. I'd lost my best friend, and in finding spirituality, I suppose I gained another, and the way that manifests itself now is just doing what I can, and doing what I can with the charity stuff that we've been doing for the last year, which has been a very big year for us, because a lot of people have been in trouble with alcohol and drugs over the last year with the pandemic and the lockdown. People have been very scared. They've been self-medicating, and we've been doing what we can with the facilities that we've got.
Tell us about the charity, Kevin. It's great.
Well, the charity started 22 years ago when Claire and I both got sober, because we realized that we didn't know where to turn for help, because of all the things that come with it. It's very much a shame-based disease. This, it's not just alcohol, it's drugs, it could be shopping, it could be sex, it could be gambling. It's right across the board, and you need some. I felt we needed somewhere where you weren't going to get judged, where people just want to help you. And this is a one-stop shop. You know, no matter what your addiction is, we can help. So that's where it started. And we went to America, and we were looking for a meeting, and we found a meeting down in the Keys in Florida. And they had like a meeting house, and we thought, this is brilliant. So we thought we'd try and bring that back to the UK. But we discovered that if you're running a charity, first and foremost, you've got to have a business acumen and a business plan to go behind it. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And plus, a lot of other dry bars are opening all over the country, and some of which are still going and are very, very good. There's a numerous one. There's a great one in Nottingham called Sobar, which is superb, which we are very friendly with. But so we didn't realize that we realized we couldn't get that to work here. So we thought, what else can we do? So we came up with this helpline idea, and just before the lockdown, we got charitable status for the helpline. So that has been our main focus over this year. But this is the last 22 years has been leading up to this, if you know what I mean. We've been trying all kinds of different ways to help people, but this seems to be the most professional, the most proficient way of helping as many people as we can.
Kevin, it sounds really great. I mean, we've got plans at our place to kind of try and create something for people to just come without judgment. I think it's really important what you'd said. And so, have you got this going on across the country, or is it in specific areas? Is it in Manchester?
No, we've got it going right across the country, because of the contacts that we've made over the last 22 years, if you ring our helpline and you're from Manchester, we'll find someone in Manchester who can help you. If you're from Birmingham, and we can find someone there. It's a very we're very connected to all kinds of different people and all kinds of different recovery based places where you can get some help.
Yeah, and I can point people into signpost people from this podcast when we put it out. Just want to advertise it yourself?
Yes, please. If you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, and you're at the end of your tether, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then just get in touch with Kennedy Street, because we've all been there here. We know what you're going through, and we can really help you. And there's no judgment here. You're not going to be shamed. You're going to be helped. So please get in touch with Kennedy Street.
Yeah. Cheers, Kev. Kev, it's been a real pleasure, a real privilege to meet you and talk to you about a bit of a trip down memory lane and learn a bit more about your love of music and stuff. What's on the horizon? Have you got anything firmly in the diary?
Well, I've got 4 things on the boil. 4 musicals, funnily enough, as it happens, and it looks like at the moment the winner at the moment looks like I'm going back to sea on Royal Caribbean ship, where we do We Will Rock You on board Anthem of the Seas, but I don't know when that's going to be back sailing. I just know we're going to rehearse it. So that's as much as I know.
Well, that's enough for now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kevin, I have one final question. I'm sure you have, but I normally ask if you've been to Burnley. Now, you must, if you're a Man City fan, you must have been to Turf Moor.
Yeah, I've been to Turf Moor. Yeah, I have.
Like Turf Moor?
I can't remember. I think it was it a charity match? I can't remember. I have definitely been and sat in that main stand. I can see it now.
Yeah, I dread playing Man City. We always get absolutely battered.
Well, you're not on your own there at the moment. You know, I mean, I was right through the years of banana carrying Kippax, where we were just happy to turn up and have a laugh, you know. And now it's absolutely different, and that's been an amazing experience from the banana years to now.
Yeah.
So it's been cool.
Yeah. Well, I feel that about Burnley. We're never going to win the Premier League, but just to be there is a real pleasure. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Burnley are a good side. They're very much difficult to beat. They are well organised. You're always going to get a game. They're never going to roll over. That's for sure.
Yeah. Kevin, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to say thank you for your time. And
thank you.
We send our love all the way down to Brighton. The sun's coming out here. I'm sure it's nice down there. It's always nice in Brighton.
It's raining, actually.
Oh well. God bless you, brother. Thanks very much.
God bless you. Thank you.